Hello, welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto. You know those stories on the internet that most of us know are not true, but some people fall for them? Is there a legal liability for that? Well, Josh passed along a great story from the ABA Journal, the American Bar Association Journal, and it says, law doesn't impose a most gullible person on Facebook standard in a suit over fake police page. This is from the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati. And it arises from a parody or joke page that someone put up on Facebook. A federal appeals court has refused to throw out the lawsuit against the city of Parma, Ohio, by a cyber culprit. Now, the man was prosecuted because he created a fake Facebook page that parodied the city's police department. And we've all seen these goof off pages that people put up, and we've also seen other posts people post. And we've also seen the news articles that these different organizations put up. Some are quite funny, but obviously not true, like The Onion. And some are just dumb. And I've seen people post the stuff, and a lot of it does come through Facebook. Now, what we're talking about here is an actual page that a guy put up and made it look like an official police page. The Sixth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati allowed Anthony Novak to sue the city and two Parma officers for First Amendment retaliation, prior restraint on speech, wrongful arrest, malicious prosecution, and conspiracy. The court dismissed a couple other claims because the officers had qualified immunity, and the Cleveland.com and Courthouse News Service have both written about this story. Prior restraint, by the way, is something you don't hear about too often. But generally speaking, if you say something bad, slander, or you publish something bad that's libel, okay, you can get in trouble for that. But you can't have a law that says we're going to do something to you for something you haven't said yet, okay? That's prior restraint. So you don't hear about it that often, but that's what the allegation is here, and it makes sense with these facts. A judge wrote a July 29th opinion, and it says, and this is a quote from the opinion, apple pie baseball and the right to ridicule the government. Each holds an important place in American history and tradition. The judge wrote at the beginning of the opinion. So thought Anthony Novak when he created a Facebook page to mock the Parma Police Department. The parody page looked like the official police department page, and Novak initially included a disclaimer saying, this is not the official Parma Police Department. But he took that down after the police posted a warning about the page on its official website, and they promised to investigate. Novak's fake page included an ad for a pedophile reform event in which pedophiles would receive honorary police commissions. He included a job posting that strongly encouraged minorities to not apply. He posted an apology from the department for neglecting to inform the public about an armed white male who robbed a Subway sandwich shop while promising to bring to justice an African American woman loitering outside the Subway during the robbery, according to the opinion. Novak's page delighted, disgusted, and confused those who saw it, according to the judge who wrote the opinion. Not everyone, however, understood it. But when it comes to parody, the law requires a reasonable reader standard, not a most gullible person on Facebook standard. The First Amendment does not depend on whether everyone is in on the joke. Neither is it bothered by public disapproval, whether tepid or red hot. So, we've all heard about this. People crack jokes. They're not all funny. They can be stupid. They can be insulting. But just because you were insulted or your feelings were hurt by something doesn't mean someone broke the law. And just because some people were confused by this doesn't mean that it necessarily is a violation of the law. The page had 100 followers and was only up for 12 hours before Novak took it down. A handful of people called the police department and complained. Novak was arrested on a charge of disrupting police functions. Jurors acquitted him in August of 2016. And so this all happened a couple years ago. And so then he filed a federal court lawsuit saying his rights were deprived because this. So in considering Novak's claims, the appeals court stressed that the litigation was at an early stage and some qualified immunity claims would not be resolved without more factual development. A fact finder will have to decide whether the fake Facebook page was a parody and whether the officers had probable cause to arrest Novak. This is according to the appeals court. If the officers did not have probable cause, Novak would have to show that the retaliation was a substantial or motivating factor for the arrest, and the officers would have arrested Novak even if the Facebook page didn't criticize the department. Other factual claims also will have to be resolved. Though Novak's Facebook page mocking the Parma Police Department has since left the cyber world, several of his legal claims will live on, the appeal opinion said. So the case is called Novak versus City of Parma. And again, remember, when we're talking about legal issues here, this doesn't mean the guy's going to win his lawsuit. It merely means the lawsuit survives to fight another day. And he could still have the lawsuit get thrown out on some other technical grounds, or he could survive and get it to a jury, and a jury might come back and go, no, you're not entitled to anything here. But the real question is, let's suppose you actually created a website that looked like the real website for the local police department, okay? And then you put stuff on there that was not true. The question is whether or not he had interfered with the, operations of the police department, because that's what they arrested him for. And so a charge of disrupting police functions. Now, I can see the argument that they might have, but if 100 people subscribed, we don't know how many people saw it. That's one missing element here. But, what if, for instance, somebody were to come forward and say, something, I had a legal problem. I had a problem I needed to contact the police about. I went into Facebook, searched for the Parma Police Department. I found this page, and somehow it caused me to run astray of what I was trying to do, and it interfered with the police function. That might be an interesting twist here. But if it was literally, 100 people saw it, 75 of them laughed, 25 of them thought this is stupid, but nothing became of it other than people were simply aware of a man who's ridiculing the Parma Police Department. Interesting question. But were laws broken, So, of course, his allegation is, look, I have the right of free speech. I published something I thought was parody. I'm making fun of the government, which is, by the way, something you should be allowed to do. And I got arrested over it. That's the issue. So, as of right now, his lawsuit is still alive. But like I said, it could still have other challenges. I'm sure it will. And the question becomes what will happen at that point. So again, your right of free speech should always extend to being critical of the government. And if you can't be critical of the government, then the right of free speech becomes largely meaningless. So I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. I personally, there's funnier things you can do. But on the other hand, not everyone can be the Onion. If you don't know what the Onion is, go look it up. Some stuff they have is absolutely hilarious. I actually subscribed to the Onion back in the days when it was a paper version you got in the mail. And I remember every week, the day that the Onion arrived at my office, take it back in my office and put down what I was doing to read the Onion. So, so that's the question. And like I said, it's out of Parma, Ohio. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, the federal courts, at least in the Sixth Circuit, have said that we're not going to impose the most gullible person on Facebook standard. It's still going to be a reasonable person standard with respect to what's going to rise to a level to create a cause of action. So there you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye-bye.